listening to the sweet sounds of the After Movie Diner. Support us at patreon.com/After Movie Diner. Or I'll punch you in the teats. Rate and review us on iTunes, Earthling. And now, here's your host, John Cross.
Thank you, lovely. Very nice. It's very,
My gran used to have a see-through tea mug.
I'm glad you said tea mug.
Well, that's what you're about to have. You're about to have tea.
I know, but, my
And
gran
it's
used to have a
just-
see-through pause.
Oh, right.
Where was that going to go?
I don't know. Where was
Somewhere
it going to
sexy.
go? Somewhere grandma sexy.
Sexy grandma.
Why not? Why not in a world? Why not have that as a thing? What are you, ageist? Come on now.
That's right.
Sexy grandmas, wherever you
grandma.
look, there they are.
In my mind.
In the shopping malls and down by the brook.
Up at the brook.
The brook.
There's only two things. There's a shopping mall and a brook. And that is it. We haven't got anything else.
And a see-through mug of tea.
And a see-through mug of tea.
And a see-through mug of tea. It's almost like we read each other's minds.
It is. And there's
Or-
nothing good there.
or
There's
the-
nothing good on.
That we've been scavenging each other's mind nuggets for 30 years plus.
Picking out the nuggets from our waste.
Picking out the corn bits
Yeah,
from
all
our
the corn from our nuggets.
corn from our brain
From our
nuggets.
brown nuggets.
And making them a podcast.
Oh, they've got special omelettes.
Ooh, wait a minute. Please do tell me about the special omelette.
I was unreasonably excited by that.
Is that where they put things in a big fold of egg?
Yeah.
Is that
Well, look, they've got,
special?
these are like, how is ham and cheese that expensive? Anyway, sorry. I'm wondering, should I get an Arizona omelette
No,
in
get them-
honour of John Rambo?
Oh, see, I
that
thought
nice?
you were going to go for the Murray Hill omelette because we're in the Murray Hill diner.
Yeah.
But you went. What if I went movie-related omelette? I quite like the idea, especially considering how Rambo: Last Blood ends. I quite like the idea of finishing that movie and going, "Oh, an omelette," like it's
I'm
just.
right in the mood for an omelette.
Oh, I'm right in the mood.
Or somebody's foot in a bag.
Yeah, in the back.
I might.
Go on, tell us more about what you might get. This is riveting.
Shut up.
Shit.
You think jalapeno peppers are they going to make me explode, or will they be nice?
What do you mean? They're hot peppers. They're hot and spicy peppers.
Are they nice?
I don't eat hot and spicy things.
No, I'm not sure I do either.
For a few more minutes, yes, please.
Yeah, a few more. Thank you.
We don't fly at the speed of this.
Yeah, they're like, sort of trick. Whoa. I literally just sat down.
I just said that. Haven't even looked at the menu yet. Menus are still closed on. What do you want?
We're still bantering.
Yeah.
This is still banter.
What you have to realise
Once the banter runs dry, then you come over
then
and
you
you
come
ask
over. Once we stop laughing like idiots and talking bollocks, that's when you come over.
Is that liable to happen anytime soon?
Nope. That will never happen.
Never happen.
They've got a chicken pot pie.
I'm going to get a Western omelette. I'm not even sure what's in a Western omelette again.
Doesn't it have it listed?
No, it doesn't. This is Western omelette because it's like a famous thing in America.
You're a famous thing.
Western omelette. Am I?
I'm just.
I guess
saying.
I'm semi-famous, right?
Oh, they've got the Balboa.
Have they? I mean, that's not. I mean, it's Balboa Productions. Do they have?
I know. They got the Balboa.
I know, but it's like his name's not John. We didn't just go and see Balboa Last Blood, did we? That would have been a very different movie. Gotta try and persuade him to have a boxing match with me. Western omelette.
You killed my fake
Killed my
niece.
family. Do you want to get into a boxing match about it? If I win,
It's the
I get revenge. Is that cool?
It's the northern version of Rocky. It's Jeff Balboa in the northern Rocky, and he's like, I tell you what, you hurt my family. Do you want to get into a boxing ring with me and settle it that way,
Yeah.
or
Wait, why is Rocky Northern? I missed that part.
You really weren't listening to my whole...
No, just the beginning bit.
It's Northern Rocky. It's Jeff Balboa.
Jeff Balboa. Why is Jeff particularly northern? Shouldn't it be like...
I'm just saying.
What's a good northern name?
It could be Jeff.
I guess Jeffrey Boycott. I guess Jeff could work. Jeff with a G feels like a...
Jeffrey Boycott. Jeffrey Boycott. What are you doing on your phone that's more important
I'm looking
than
up
listening
I'm
to
looking
my
up what a
wank?
Western omelette is.
Listening to my rambling
I'm looking up
wank.
what a Western omelette is. Now I know what a Western omelette is. I'm happy.
I tell you what, after the couple of episodes where I had other guests on...
I know. They spoiled you.
Yeah,
with their being interesting.
Yeah, and
letting you talk.
No, I was about to say that it probably made the listeners
happy.
Long. No, I was about to say something complimentary.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Long for the banter days.
Check,
I'm
right?
still sorry. I'm still. I didn't realise there was a time limit on.
Yeah, clearly your optimism that because we got here at 8:30 rather than...
Right, we've got like 2 hours before they close. I didn't realise it was going to be a problem.
What are you thinking then? Chicken pot pie?
No. I had a sandwich for lunch, but I kind of want the Murray Hill.
We'll go to Murray Hill then. What's in the Murray Hill? Is it a sandwich?
What's in the name? Yeah, it's basically a sandwich.
Yeah, I know, but clearly that's like not... I mean, that's as basic as a description of a Murray Hill gets.
Hot pastrami with melted Swiss cheese and sautéed onions, served with French fries, coleslaw and a pickle.
Yeah, you should get that. Why wouldn't you get that? That sounds like it was made for you.
Because I might want a breakfast.
Why don't you get that and a breakfast?
Shush. Wait.
All right.
The lumberjack. Does it have bacon, ham, sausage, orchid, like...
You mean, is it one of them or all of them?
Right.
Good luck.
Doesn't make any sense. I'll ask him, but that's what I want. I want the lumberjack.
No, the lumberjack with as much meat as they can. 2 eggs, any start, and bacon, ham. Yeah. I think you only get one thing.
That's
French
what I want
toast,
to
2
ask.
eggs.
Normally with a lumberjack, you get more than one meat.
And
That's what I'm
bacon.
asking.
Yeah, okay.
It feels like it's only one meat, but you can ask.
I kind of want 2 meat. I want bacon and sausage.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's not really a lumberjack. Otherwise, it's just eggs, a bit of French toast, and some bacon.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, that's just a regular breakfast.
Yeah. He's now we went fast enough. Now he's never coming back.
Yeah, he's never coming back now.
Because the meats are too.
I want them now. Like, we've only been sat here 8 minutes and they've come over 3 times.
And now we're ready. They're nowhere to be found.
Yeah, well, that's the way it crumbles
Now they're
here in the Murray Hill
ready.
Diner, clearly.
Now they're ready. They're nowhere to be found.
Do I want a waffle or French toast?
I can't help you, mate. That is a decision that only a man in his conscience can make.
I don't care. Anyway, maybe...
You were saying something nice.
I was.
And then he interrupted us.
I was saying that maybe after the couple of episodes, although actually I don't know when this is going to run, I might put
There have
out-
been 2 because you did.
Yeah, but I was going to do like a horror movie season. I guess this is kind of a horror movie in a weird way.
Yeah, sort of.
We'll go into it, but. And I also, do I care? No. Let's just put episodes out. Who cares?
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, you could put it out early November, I suppose. Oh no, wait, no, that doesn't work at all because it's only September now.
Right.
Because you could put it out this week before October.
No, but I've already put out 2 horror episodes. Nobody cares, do they?
No, nobody cares.
Nobody cares. So I was going to say,
At least, I mean, even we don't care.
even we don't care. After I just like podcasts
Yeah.
with you.
Oh, thanks.
You've been away in the UK,
I have.
and I've done a couple of
I've been
episodes
growing.
without you.
Spiritually.
Oh, is that what happens when you go to the UK? You
No, it's
grow-
what happens when I get away from you.
Oh, okay.
That's not true.
You shouldn't do that too often, then. Jim, growing spiritually? That's a disgusting idea.
Ugh.
Who wants that?
Growing
Which one's
spiritually
yours, by the way?
in my pants. Well, I haven't had any, so probably that one. What? Have you had any?
No, I haven't. And I was
Should
just
look for the
saying
stray beard hair.
that while listeners might enjoy the occasional diversity in co-host, I think they miss you when you're not
You think?
around. Yeah, well, I did. So
thanks, man.
I think they might.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice. It feels like I'm back home again. Here we are in a diner talking movie
Talking
we just
about
saw.
a rather silly B movie.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
So yeah, we're talking Rambo Last Blood.
Rambo Lost Blood.
Rambo Last Blood. I'm gonna tear your hair out. Tear your fucking hair out. Not tear your hair out. He wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna tear your hair out. He was, I'm gonna tear your heart out. Like you fucking tore my heart out.
I don't do metaphor.
Yeah. I do metaphor with knife. Yeah.
Was the last one?
Yes.
The last one come out in the cinema.
Yes.
So there's that period, right?
Was the last one the last one? It was. And in a way, and not because I didn't enjoy this, because I did, but in a way, it should have ended. It should have been the last one, but we'll get into that.
Well, so here's my question, right?
You've knocked over your milk tower.
I've knocked over my milk tower. He means I'm masturbating.
In a diner. Publicly.
Just because now we can't get an order for Love Nor Money. Like, they wouldn't leave us alone.
Isn't that crazy? We were, yeah, all right. We can't win here.
No, we can't.
Anyway.
No, we're perpetual losers.
At the Murray Hill Diner. I knew when you said it, like, oh, it's early. Why don't we try that place? I knew when you said it, only bad things could happen. We had a plan and we messed with that plan. And now I feel like Rambo's coming for revenge. So, yeah, sorry, you were going to ask a question. The last one was the last one. It should have probably stayed the last.
And was it in the cinema? Was it released in the cinema? So, because there was that thing, right, where he did that and he did Rocky, right? And they were both like... And what was the impetus? Because, like, he did them both really, really close to each other as kind of, like, comeback.
Well,
was he back in vogue or like?
No. So the impetus for you're going back now to Rocky VI, which was just called, I believe, Rocky, or Rocky Balboa, and
then this one was called, and the last one was called just Rambo, right?
And then the last one was just called Rambo, or was it called John Rambo? Was it just
no? It was just called Rambo.
And you're right, they were his comeback movies before he did Expendables and everything else.
Was it before Expendables?
Since. It was. They were both before Expendables.
So why was it a thing? Why was he allowed to make both of them?
It wasn't that he was allowed to
because at that point... No, I just wondered, because specifically with Rocky, like, Rocky 5 had been a flop, right?
Yes.
So why all of a sudden...
Not a flop, but it had been unpopular. I think it made money, but I think people didn't like it.
So is there I'm trying to remember back at the time why...
Can I explain? Or
Yeah.
Because you keep
asking.
I
could keep speculating.
Why, and I could actually answer the question.
Yeah, it's not as fun, is it?
Probably not.
Speculations what I need.
We're always seated by the place where
Well, that's because in a diner you're always near somebody throwing crockery around.
True. They like... This is so weird. They couldn't help us quick enough, and then... Anyway. So,
Oh, grab it. Hang on. I'm going to catch his attention. No, it's not going to happen.
The After Movie Diner with John Cross will return right after this.
When award-nominated screenwriter Chip Thompson, that's me, hi, was 14, he was mildly obsessed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, comic books, and a whole manner of geeky pop culture. So he decided to write his own series, centering around what it would be like if he and his best friend and co-host MC,
that would be me,
were supernatural crime-fighting ninjas in Tokyo. It was as terrible as it sounds, full of plagiarism, clumsy references, and outright stealing of ideas, mixed with its own unique blend of B-movie horror and superhero plots and ideas. Now, 17 years later, Chip and MC read through each episode of this series, much to Chip's chagrin, brought to life with their unique acting skills. Whether you're a Buffy fan or enjoy the works of Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, My Dad Wrote a Porno, The Evil Dead, or you just like to hear a grown man wince at his teenage ramblings, we think you'll enjoy the How I Ripped Off Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast. Available on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube and Stitcher Radio. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com How I Ripped Off Podcast or on Twitter at How I Ripped Off.
You know, you may have been listening to this podcast for many, many years, or this might be your first episode. Either way, depending on where you find your podcast or how you stumbled across us, you may be completely unaware that there is a full after-movie diner universe out there just waiting for you to spread your fingers and delve right in. The best place to find all that stuff is aftermoviediner.com. That's right, aftermoviediner.com. It could not be easier. Movie reviews, news, interviews, podcasts, all of the good things that you love about film are over there at aftermoviediner.com. Check out our interview podcast, Booth Talk, which is available everywhere where podcasts are found. Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, all of those good things. Check out Booth Talk. We have interviews with some awesome new filmmakers and interviews with old legends like Peter Weller, Michael Ironside, Fred the Hammer Williamson, Barbara Crampton, and more. Check it out. It's an awesome interview show, and I would urge you to listen and tell all your friends about it. Also, please, if you're enjoying the show, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, wherever you get your podcasts. Please rate and review us. Share us on social media. Like us on social media. Tell your friends and family about it. The only way to grow an audience is with our audience that we currently have helping us out. We don't have huge amounts of funds for advertising, and a lot of social is now pay to play. So please share, like, comment, retweet whenever you see anything from aftermoviediner.com. That would be awesome of you. And lastly, if you do want to throw us a few shekels for advertising, head on over to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/aftermoviediner. Not only keeps the website going and the podcast, but also helps us spread the word. That's patreon.com, patreon.com/aftermoviediner. And now, back to the riveting episode. Where has the server come over to the table? Has the server completely ignored them for another minute? Who knows what's going to happen? Oh my God, is this exciting or not? Will they ever get around to talking about Rambo Last Blood, or will we all die of boredom in the process? Who can wait to find out? Let's go back to the diner.
He's busy, he's wrapping stuff. He's getting
Bloody Christmas at Bloomingdale's here.
coffee.
Also, what is this wallpaper?
I don't know. Every time I look at it,
every time I look at it, I'm going to die of blindness. I've gone face blind, Jim. I've gone face blind with the. It looks like the bars.
No, he's just hanging around. He's not getting anything. He's just hanging around.
Wow. All right. Let's just. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, me neither. All right.
This
yeah,
is
so
terrible.
explain
Terrible podcasting. I can't. Every time I look at that wallpaper, it's strobing.
Can we move across over there?
No. Okay. It's like strobing at me, and then I get like sucked in. It's just unpleasant.
It is really weird. It's reminding me of something very specific, but I can't remember what.
It's really difficult because I'm stuck between having to look at your face or look at the wallpaper.
Which is never pleasant.
No.
Here we go. Hey,
yes.
Can I get the Western omelette?
White toast, whole wheat, right, multi-day.
Whole wheat toast.
Whole wheat toast.
Thank you very much.
My friend.
Can I ask a question? The lumberjack breakfast,
Okay.
does it come with one type of meat or two?
1 minute.
Just one, huh, in the lumberjack?
And the eggs.
Right. Okay. Can I, if I get like, can I get bacon and sausage for like an extra $1 or something?
$4.50 extra.
How much?
$4.50 right here. Everything is right.
Where?
Meat.
Where?
I don't know. There's the lumberjack,
4.50.
2 eggs.
I mean, I'm not spending $4.50 on extra meat.
I don't know where it says that.
Yeah, I don't know where it says that either. Okay, I'll just have, it's fine. I'll have 2 eggs. That's fine. It's fine. I'll have 2 eggs,
Okay.
over easy,
Okay.
ham, and French fries, please.
Over easy ham, French fries.
Yeah,
Okay, you want the bread? White, whole wheat, rye, multigrain.
White is fine.
White toast?
Yeah.
Sure, right. Okay.
Thank
you. Take your menu, please.
Thank you very much.
If you want baked food, you can take that.
Yeah, I don't know why we come here.
I don't know why we come here either. $4.50 for like a sausage.
Yeah. most lumberjacks, I think
I
I'm
know,
right in
that's the
saying,
point,
are more
isn't
than
it?
one meat.
That's the point, isn't it? Like, you can't fit it on the plate, there's so much stuff.
Well, the thing is we're spoiled because in the UK, an English breakfast, you get a bit of bacon, you get some sausage, you get some eggs, you get some baked beans, you get a bit of everything.
Mushrooms.
And I like that. I like a bit of everything. What I don't want is 17 rashers of bacon and 1 egg. Like, anyway, towards the end of 90s and early 2000s, Stallone was adrift. It wasn't that he wasn't making movies, it's just that he had been trying a bunch of different things. Both his franchises, Rocky and Rambo, had ended, and he tried a bunch of different things. And the only thing that really stuck was like Copland. And the only thing I don't have an answer for is after Copland, why he didn't then go on and make a bunch of kind of quasi-action dramas where he kind of became a Clint Eastwood type figure. I don't know why, because that was, of all the things that he did.
He strikes me as a man who likes control.
Yeah.
So I don't know that he would have had that much control over
Copland.
for example.
But he did it to kind of prove something to himself and to others. I think.
Right. But I'm saying that maybe that's why he didn't then go.
Right.
Because it would be like, I'm an actor in somebody else's movie. He doesn't mind getting someone else to direct the movie.
Right.
But he wants to produce it. He wants to write it. He wants to run the show.
No, I get that. So, but he was doing a bunch of stuff. He did a horror action thriller thing called I See You, which is also called Detox, where he's kind of like an action figure trying to track down a serial killer in the Arctic or something. He did a driving movie where he was like a race car driver that like nobody saw. He did like Daylight, wasn't that one of them? Where he's like
no, that was 90s. That was like Demolition Man.
Right. But this is the whole thing. It's like his.
But Daylight was a minor hit, I think.
Right. No, but it was at the start where like he couldn't find another like franchise style hit, or he couldn't most people know him for Rocky and Rambo, and then there's like Cobra, Demolition Man, Over the Top. There's like a few scattered around that are very popular. Cliffhanger was another one that was like very popular. But then the more of those he did through the 90s and into the 2000s, there really wasn't a lot of interest in it. And I think he came to a little bit of crossroads where he was like, well, none of these things that I'm doing. He did like the Get Carter remake that went straight to video. He did that. He did one called, I think, Avenging Angelo or something, which is like really bad, which kind of went to straight to video. And I think he was just sort of like, well, shit, what do I do? And I think that he felt like he had got old enough to tell like an old man Rocky story. He was never satisfied with the way that the franchise had ended with Part 5, and so really wanted to like close the book and send Rocky out on a high, because it was kind of the character that bridged his whole career. And he wanted to bookend it. He was like, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to kind of like plead to Hollywood and say like, can I please just make my Rocky movie, whatever. I don't think it was that big budget. I think the whole idea was, look, you'll get me as Rocky, you know, you'll get an ending to the franchise, but you won't have to give me millions. We'll do it the way we did Rocky 1 kind of thing. Right. I think that was sort of the way he got that one made. I might be right, I might be wrong, but I think that's what it was. And the moment like people started to hear, oh my God, there's another Rocky coming out, and word is it's really good. I think someone ponied up the money for Rambo, and I think I think Stallone looked at 3 especially, and was like, well, there's not really any ending to like 3 in terms of setting Rambo, you know, getting Rambo home. He's been out adrift in the jungle and in the desert, like killing various people for reasons.
Some more hot water? No?
No, I'm alright.
Good.
Thank you.
For reasons that he can't quite wrestle with. And he was like, well, we could have this one last mission he does, and then he finally is done and heads home. Because at the end of Rambo, he sends his character, like he finally steps foot on American soil again in 30 years and goes back to his farmhouse. And so he ended both his franchises very well. And what ended up happening was it got renewed interest in Stallone, and that's where the Expendables came from. Because the idea
Escape
was...
plan and stuff like that.
Yeah, because the idea was, well, we don't think... unless it's Rambo or Rocky, we don't think Stallone will do it just as a starring vehicle on his own. So let's pair him up with a whole bunch of people. Stallone was like, well, I'll delve into my 80s book, throw Jason Statham in there and Jet Li and a couple of others that I haven't worked with yet, and away we go. And then that was a huge franchise. And the best thing about it, about action movies these days, with the markets the way they are, is that if you've got anyone from like 80s, 90s or 2000s action films and you don't spend too much on them, you can make an absolute bucket in Asia. Like, all 3 Expendables movies make 3 times in China what they make in America. The profits for all 3 Expendables movies went down domestically and went exponentially up internationally.
Oh, wow.
So, and the reason why I think he doesn't mind doing straight-to-video guff like Escape Plan 2 and Escape Plan 3 is because it keeps his hand in with those foreign markets. Because, and I don't know this for a fact, but I think that, like, Asia doesn't give a shit if it came out in the cinemas here or didn't. Like, they don't care if it came out, whatever. I think it's a different cinema-going situation over there. And I'm sure something like Escape Plan 2 or 3 or whatever probably did get screened, like, somewhere in the world. You know what I mean? Whether it's Eastern Europe, whether it's Asia, whether it's these emerging markets. Thank you.
Whole wheat toast,
Oh yeah, that might be.
white toast,
I'm whole wheat.
okay. Worcester omelette,
That's me. Thank you very much. Lovely.
over easy. Ham, right?
That's it. Thank you.
Enjoy,
Lovely.
yeah?
Thank you, mate.
That has to be the quickest any foods come out. So yeah, and
How worried are we about that?
No, it's fine. It's fine. They all look well cooked. It's fine. So I think getting on to Rambo: Last Blood, I think the one actual problem I had with it, weirdly enough, was that it was a Rambo movie.
Yeah, it didn't need to be.
First of all, it doesn't need to be. Secondly, I did feel that Rambo 4 really ended it nicely. Like, there's this iconic shot of him, like, stepping back
Right.
to his homeland again. And all the weight of that is with it. And it was sort of a really effective end to the franchise.
Right.
And so, the problem is that no matter how good or, middling or whatever Rambo: Last Blood is, it's only ever going to feel like
A crash grab.
no. I was going to say it's only ever going to feel like an after the credit sequence to Rambo 4. Like, it's only ever going to feel like a needless postscript nobody needed
Right.
in the life of the character. What's more interesting is that when he was trying to get Rambo 5 up and running before, it was a movie that ended up being Jason Statham's film Homefront.
Oh yeah.
So Stallone had been reading a book that was sort of a, man defends his home type thing,
Right.
and thought this would make a really good, Rambo back on American soil thing if I ever had to make one again. Like, if I ever got in a situation where all they'll let me make is Rambo movies.
Right.
And what was funny is halfway, and I don't know the whole story, but halfway through the scripting process, or halfway through trying to get the money for it, he was like, balls to this being a Rambo movie, let's just give it to Statham for one of his straight-to-video action movies. And in that movie, it's Jason Statham's kid gets in the face of, like, a local drug dealer's kid, and then the local drug dealer, like, comes at Statham, and Statham beats them all up, basically.
Right.
And again, as a Rambo movie, that would have been weak sauce. As another straight-to-video Jason Statham actioner, it was perfectly serviceable. The casting of James Franco and Winona Ryder was a bit what the fucky, but whatever. So all it is that it seems odd to me, considering the success of Creed, which is sort of the perfect way to kind of extend Rocky's life, even though it didn't need to. If you were going to go that way, have him be a supporting character in a movie like Creed, because Creed was genuinely really good. You can't do that with Rambo. You can't have, like, old man Rambo trains a young buck. Like, who gives a... Like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Because there aren't any... I mean, I suppose you could have had, like, Colonel Troutman's son gets in trouble or some shit. But, like, is anyone really caring about Colonel Troutman at this point? You know, and the
Well, I
audience...
just say that definitely got muted as an idea.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's very odd that this movie, like, needed to be made. I don't see anyone from the director on down being that passionate about it.
No.
And I also don't see Stallone sitting around his mansion thinking, oh, well, I guess I better do another Rambo movie to pay the electric bill. Like, I don't...
Is it just because they went, you know, the first Rambo movie is called Rambo First Blood, so we could make one called Rambo Last Blood.
I mean, maybe, I don't know.
I mean, it is sort of superficially him defending his home, even though he
that's what I'm
has to
saying.
go to Mexico to kill a whole bunch of people in order for him to do so.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that this is basically Homefront
Meets
Taken.
Yeah.
So it's whatever idea Stallone had originally.
Do you think the fact that even though Escape Plan 2 and 3, let's just say for the sake of argument, despite the fact that Stallone is obviously a talented chap, right? Let's imagine, just for a moment, that he's a raging egomaniac. Right? I think we can agree that after Copland, if he's like, yeah, I could become like a respected character actor and take on challenging roles, or I could use this newfound fame to get more control over shitty movies.
Right.
But let's imagine he's a rampant egomaniac, right? So let's say that even though Escape Plan 3 does good box office in China, it hurts him to see it on, like, you know, premiering on direct TV or whatever, right?
Right.
And then it hurts him, even though, like, because Creed is, like, he got his props, but really the director got the props out of Creed, and Jordan got the, you know what I mean? Like, he got like, oh, how nice of him to turn up and be Rocky again, but not like, wow, what a great, it's not his show, right?
He was nominated though, wasn't he?
He was, but
I think it bummed him out that he didn't get it.
yeah.
They probably should have given Stallone an Oscar. They probably
And then
just
maybe he
should
wouldn't have
done.
made this movie. But anyway, so maybe that's just it. It's like he's like, hey, why don't you make it? You know, investors come in and they say, listen, make us another Rambo movie. You know.
Yeah, but what's weird about this is it's all his friends. It's Avi Lerner and the whole Millennium group who make all the Expendable movies and stuff. So, like, maybe they lean on him and say, like, you need to do another one? I don't know.
Well, it's
That's
Lionsgate,
hypothesis
right?
of this. Well, Lionsgate distribute it, but Millennium are the ones that put it together.
Maybe they
Millennium,
haven't had a hit in a while.
I don't know. Anyway, we can hypothesize all night. The point of the matter is this.
Can I just say why? Because I think we can get on to why it is quite an enjoyable movie. But actually, my biggest problem with it is that it's not... There was a point in the movie where I thought, okay, I get it. That's kind of neat. Because in Taken, right, he's not a character at the beginning of the movie. He's just like, as far as the audience are concerned, right, he's just like Liam Neeson playing a guy, right? He proves who he is over the course of the movie, right? But Rambo arrives at the beginning of the movie with everybody knowing this bloke defeated the Soviet Union. Numbers don't matter to him.
Right.
This is not like, oh, there's too many, right?
Right.
It's not a concern. So that bit near the beginning where he gets that quite cool bit where he becomes aware really quickly of, oh shit, I'm out of my element and I'm outnumbered here.
Yeah.
through like the windy streets or whatever, and everywhere he goes, like somebody whistles or attacks or whatever, and soon he's being like pursued by tons and tons of guys until they herd him into this square where he's surrounded by hundreds of them. And then they beat the shit out of him. And I thought, now this is cool, because what's cool about this is they literally don't know who they're fucking with.
Right.
They think, because there's this many of them, that's going to concern him. It is not. It's new terrain. Right. It's not like the rocks of Afghanistan. It's like the alleyways of Mexico. But it's still like, you guys have no clue who you're fucking with. And then I was expecting the rest of the movie to be him putting together some like daring one-man, Soviet Union-like takedown of a Mexican crime cartel on their own backyard, right? Right. And then that never happened. So just like you're saying, he could have been literally any character.
Right.
Because all he does is like, don't get me wrong, what he does at the end is fantastic, but all he does is in the actually getting the girl back is nothing, really.
Hit a bunch of guys with a hammer in the face.
He hit 3 blokes with a hammer and it was over in the blink of an eye.
So hang on a second. So there's a couple of things I want to say. So it being a Rambo movie,
right,
sort of hurts it for kind of the reasons why you hinted at. It helps it a little bit because, like you say, they don't know who they're fucking with. But because the outcome of that is not the storm the gates, take everyone down, and the rest of the movie being like a perpetual and relentless bloodbath, which is sort of what Rambo 4 was. Like, Rambo 4 was set up the fact that the Burmese have all these people in chains or whatever who are missionaries and things, and Rambo's just like, all right, well, I guess I've got to do this again, punts his way up the river, and then the rest of the movie is him just machine gunning people in half for 50 straight minutes.
Was it good?
Yeah, but he literally just there's a like a now famous scene, the meme of where it looks like Rambo's doing like the most intense thumbs up ever, where he's going like, oh, like that with the 2 thumbs up. So that's someone has photoshopped out the machine gun from Rambo 4. He literally jumps on the back of a Jeep with an enormous machine gun on the top of a hill, while the entire Burmese guerrilla army are like advancing up the hill. And he just grabs the machine gun and literally for about 10 straight minutes of cinema time just while the machine gun just like clefts people in twain. And that goes on forever and ever and ever.
So what you're saying is the movie that I wanted to see, they already made that movie?
Yeah, they made that in Rambo 4 and Rambo 2 and Rambo 3, to be fair. But so the Rambo thing kind of defeats it a little bit, and puts unfair expectation on it. And the other thing I quickly wanted to mention, without getting too much into it, is that I don't know if you've noticed, because you're not as like dialed into the whole constant film rants on social media from people.
No.
And I have a lot of film
I'm quite pleased about it.
Right. I have a lot of film journalist friends who are often sharing articles, so therefore, just because of accumulation of content, I end up seeing all these headlines.
Right.
In the lead up to Rambo, all anyone could talk about...
This Rambo.
Right. All anyone could talk about, and all anyone could mention is, in this climate right now, do we really need, the red-blooded all-American going south the border and murdering a bunch of people, right? There was this whole thing, and it's like, what is this? Is Stallone suddenly pro-Trump? Is Stallone suddenly pro-the wall? Is Stallone suddenly blah, blah, blah? There was loads. This wasn't like one bitchy article written by a shitty film
But to be fair,
journalist.
I do see where that comes from. Mostly because...
I actually don't, but finish your
What I was going to say is the reason that I see where it comes from is that it's only really one thing. Because I was fine with it because it's just exploitation trash. That's what it is. In exploitation trash, you need bad guys, and the bad guys, live in a terrible. Usually, it's a terrible neighborhood, and like that. My only issue with the whole film is they drive south of the border and it's instantly hell. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no oh, there's a bit of like tourist or whatever, but then you get to the bad neighbourhood, man, or whatever, right? Because everyone's got bad neighbourhood. It's like literally south of the border, it's all bad neighbourhood south of the border. Everything's like a crumbling, you know, shit's like hellhole.
Yeah,
right?
all right, but I mean,
that was my thing.
That's like saying in, you know, Rambo 4, I'm sure there are some really nice parts of Burma, or like, I'm sure there are some pretty spots in Afghanistan, or I bet Vietnam has some really nice restaurants.
I get it.
It's not.
I get it. It's just trash, but I'm saying nonetheless.
No, but kind of finishing my point.
Yeah, sorry.
In terms of politics, right, there is absolutely no politics to the movie. There just isn't any politics to the movie.
No.
Right? The story, right, necessitates him going to Mexico, right? But when he gets to Mexico, it's not like everyone he meets is like the worst person ever. There's like legitimately good, the journalist woman is like a good character who helps him out, whatever, right? The family he lives with, his adopted family, the family he loves is a Mexican family. So it's not, and even without that, this is like saying, if you, basically, getting upset that in this movie he goes to Mexico and kills some Mexicans is like being Jim Belushi getting upset that in Taken he kills some Albanians. Like it's not, it doesn't matter in Taken that they're Albanians. They could be made up crap Lakistanians or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. It's just a bunch of bad people doing a bunch of bad shit, and the hero goes in and saves the day. And you're either with that or you're not. Like, it's fine. By the way, it's absolutely fine to not be into that. But not being into that and then being like, well, of course, this is Trump's America is bullshit. It's disingenuous horseshit. There is not... Because I was looking for it. I was watching the movie being like, all right, show me something where he, like, I don't know, runs into a crowd of Mexicans with an American flag and starts stabbing people or something. Like, he doesn't do that. Like, that doesn't happen. There's no commentary on any of this stuff. It's not... And if the director thought he was doing any commentary, then, you know, he's a fool. There's about as much commentary in this as there is in Death Wish 5. Like, it's not... I refused to have... I understand why journalists are doing it, because everyone wants to look fucking woke as balls, but, like, this is not the movie to get upset about.
It just... And again, it's my only issue with it. It is that... A message in the movie is... Sorry, not the message, not the message.
There's no message of the movie.
A thing that the movie says is that all of Mexico is a hellhole.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
It never says that.
It does.
It never says that. It says the place where her father lives is not a very nice place with some bad element in it. Is what it says. It doesn't say the whole.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. But I was still struck by it.
What was he meant to do? Drive around the nice bits and then finally get to the bad guys? Like, of course he's going to go straight to the bad guys. What's he going to do? Like, go on a tourist tour and go, by the way, there's some really nice bits. We're just getting to the bad bit, but here's the really nice bit. Like,
but that's the thing, isn't it? Maybe it suffers from how close it is to America. In other words, if the daughter was like in Taken, right? She's stolen in Paris,
right?
So when he lands in Paris, he lands at Paris airport, and he gets in a cab from the airport. You know what I mean? Like there's because it's far away,
right? You
place them in that way, whereas Mexico's so close. Well, yeah, it's fine. He's just going to drive there. You know what I mean? Anyway, I get your point, because like as soon as it happened, I was like, I get why people would be up in arms about this, but it's just, you know, it's a pile of shit.
I don't get why people would be. Anyway, so the only thing I would say is the movie being set where it is, was it bound to rile people up just because of the mere mention of the word Mexico? Yes. Am I surprised by people being riled up about it? No. Do people actually have any genuine political reason to be riled up about this movie? No. But I understand why people would, because everyone loves a cause célèbre, right? And it is very, very hard in general these days to make the old school 80s and 90s action films, because people don't have that separation between fantasy and reality anymore. People want all of their fantasy to somehow... That's why you get the Marvel movies, because it's a way to do an action movie where they're fighting aliens or they're fighting,
Right.
shadowy cabal of government, whatever. None of it is real. It's all bollocks. But if you set something in a realistic thing, you have to answer to it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be like, well, why are there a bunch of Albanians in France, doing sex trafficking or whatever? Like, is that a real thing? Is it justified that he, pins a guy's legs to a chair and electrocutes him multiple times? Because people are asking these questions. Back in the day, no one asked any questions. Chuck Bronson slung a missile launcher on his back and blew the guy away. Nobody gave a fuck. Like, that's how we did it. So, and you could argue that yes, all right, there are certain Rocky films and certain Rambo films that come from a place of the fact that there was a Cold War going on, right? In the same way that there are James Bond films that come from the fact that there was a Cold War going on. And so therefore there is an argument to be made that automatically any kind of political situation plays into these films to some extent, and you could possibly trace that. But
You should move on because you're just going to get
hang on a
upset.
second. But ultimately, I was watching the movie with that in mind, and there is nothing in the film that either condemns or exalts any situation of any, right?
Okay, yeah.
And considering the first Rambo movie is also hypercritical of America, you can hardly say that this is like a franchise that gives two shits either way.
Yeah, but I think you could say that one of the weirder left turns in like cinema franchises is Rambo going from being like a persecuted, mentally ill loner. Do you know what I mean? By the people he was supposed to protect in a
Right.
not terribly subtle but extremely effective criticism of the treatment of veterans after the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
To woohoo, Reagan's underpants, shoot you across the room. Do you know what I mean? As oiled up, strong man defeats the Soviet Union single-handed. It's like, he goes from being like a troubled loner to being, an all-American hero. It's very weird, but also kind of instructive. And although I agree with you, and I really don't want to get bogged down the politics thing.
No, I was just saying, all the headlines I saw before this can go fuck themselves, and that should not be.
So is that part of why it might? Because they're always going about like Hollywood and like the
The liberal agenda.
the
and all that.
liberal elite and all the rest of it, right? If you're going to go here's a movie where Rambo kicks some Mexicans in the balls. Do you know what I mean?
Well, doesn't kick
For an
them,
hour and a
knifes
half,
them.
knifes them in the balls an hour and a half. Would that be something you're interested in seeing? Trump voters who make up 40% of the American public? Yes, say the Trump voters. That is something we'd like to see. Cool, let's give it a cinema release. Even though, as you rightly point out, it says nothing about anything except here are some people that Stallone can rightfully commit acts of extreme violence upon because
they're drugging up teenagers and raping them.
Right, exactly. And whether they're in Mexico or fucking
Albania
or Delaware, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Rambo goes to Delaware. Anyway, that's probably not a very good idea, but...
Well, no, I mean, look, I suppose there is an argument to be made, considering the first Rambo takes place, I think, isn't it Washington State he's heading home?
Yeah.
So you could have set Rambo Last Blood in Washington State and had him go across and beat up some Canadian drug dealers, I suppose.
They have drugs and prostitutes in Canada.
Right. So I suppose you could have done that, and they didn't do that, because they didn't do that, blah, blah, blah. But, whatever. And also...
And have, Steve Martin as the main bad guy. Or Chevy Chase.
Why is Steve... Neither of them are Canadian.
Chevy Chase... Oh, no, he's not, is he?
You would have Dan Aykroyd, Martin Short,
that's what I'm
Donald
thinking of.
Sutherland.
Yeah, any of them. Yeah, Dan Aykroyd and Donald Sutherland as the two brothers.
As the two brothers. Yeah. What's a very Canadian name? Because in Rambo, they're the Menendez brothers, right?
Oh, that's right, yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't think of a suitably Canadian name. But Brown.
Well, Brown's not. Brown's Scottish and British. It's not.
Yeah, true, I suppose.
Anyway, all that to be said, there's always been...
Did you like it? Like the movie?
Yes. There's always been a part of my, you know, I'm a
Psyche?
I'm a pacifist.
Yeah.
I'm 100% anti-guns, and I'm a wishy-washy, beardy liberal
Yeah. I mean,
on most things.
you are the liberal elite with the elite taken out.
Right.
You're the real face of liberalism. Like scared and ineffective.
Well, I don't wanna go- yeah.
Frightened and ineffective.
Yeah, frightened and ineffective. But
Which I am too, by the way.
no,
I'm
no,
not
no, I
very-
got it. Yeah. But by the same token, I probably, you know, I don't hate a lot of liberals in the same way that I hate a lot of Republicans. But I hate quite a lot of liberals. They do wind me up the wrong way.
Yeah.
And especially the people who bang on about, like, well, bruh, should we really be making movies where they kill certain people because of the political climate? Those people, I want to nail them to a shed wall and rip their hearts out with a big Bowie knife. So,
However, if it was like, you know, the film reporter for the Mexico City News or whatever, going, I'm Mexican and I didn't enjoy Rambo. I go, yeah, fair, I can understand that. Yeah.
100%. That's absolutely fine. Someone from the, you know, Mexico City Gazette is more than welcome to take this movie to task. That makes perfect sense to me. But Mr. White, New Yorker, oh, it's offending my delicate whatever. You can go shove a caramel mochaccino up your fucking jacksie. I don't care. But no, sorry. So, but the disconnect has always been, or the fantasy part of it has always been the fact that I absolutely love action movies, even though they don't subscribe to like my moral compass whatsoever.
Yeah, that's
and
yeah.
most of them are like gun-toting whatever. But that's because I believe that shit belongs in fantasy, and us to get a catharsis from it, and it to not be real. I don't believe that after watching this movie, I want to go away and buy a big knife. Any more than after watching Lord of the Rings, I wanted to fucking buy an orc sword or whatever. Like, I don't have any desire to, like, buy a big gun because Rambo had one. You know what I mean? It doesn't belong in reality. But up on the screen, have him decapitate, stab, tear hearts out, rip feet off, whatever, 1 million people, and I'm happy. I'm delirious. Because I don't want to do it in reality. I want him doing it in fantasy. So yeah. Did you like the film?
I mean, I enjoyed watching it, even though it was rubbish. In the
Why is it rubbish though?
Because it was mostly terrible cliches. And everything in it I'd seen like 1 billion times before.
Have you watched Stallone films before?
No, that's what I'm saying. So that's why I went in expecting. So that was because
Right.
bear in mind I've only seen Rambo, right? I mean, I've only seen First Blood, which is actually quite a good movie, right?
You've never seen any of the
But
others?
I've never seen any others.
So, okay. Alright, wow, alright.
I just haven't. They haven't cropped up. I'm not saying I wouldn't watch them. They just haven't cropped up.
You would probably like... You would probably like 4 just because it's bananas.
Well, okay. So here's the thing, right? Even though it was bad, like all the bits where he wasn't actively inflicting
Pain.
mind-boggling damage on people was rubbish. There was nothing in it that was true or real or affecting. Like there is in Rocky movies or in the first Rambo movie. Like it doesn't have to be like sparkling dialogue or like saying something, you know, massive about the universe. But none of it was. It was all just like, this is all this is the recycled cliche compost heap that we are building in order to justify what is about to happen, which I am fine with.
Right.
Because like that's what you've got to get
I
through.
just wish it had happened sooner and lasted longer.
Yeah, that's my problem, is that everything that was built up to, which for me was that him getting the girl back, was over in like the blink of an eye. And
How's
then-
that, my friends? Everything good?
yeah, it was
Yeah.
good, thanks mate.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Plates. Make a little room. Okay.
Thank you very
You're
much.
still working with it?
Oh no, you're good to take it. You can go. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it goes in, gets the girl, comes out, and then like that's it. And then it's I even liked the bit. I mean, I loved the bit where they like discover the brother and he hasn't got a head, and he, that was brilliant. But it was, what my biggest problem with the movie was, now that I think about it, and my biggest problem in the movie was far too much of it was bad guy walking down corridor, Stallone comes around a corner and stabs him. Like, that was it. Like, nearly every kill was Stallone popping around a corner and knifing somebody in the face. Okay, that can't work every time.
It works every time, Jim. It worked every time.
But I'm just saying, like, you can't have him kill like 50 guys in it. I'm not saying, because the whole point about the things I liked were, chopping somebody's heads off or chopping his ankle off, whatever. Like, the bits where there was a bit of like, hey, clearly you're not fussed about boundaries here, so let's go to town. But not everything should be walking down a corridor, hey, it was the same. And given that was a limited amount of screen time, and how much screen time there was of like, I'm really emoting about this like compost heap of justification.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the compost heap of justification, I don't care. Just get on with it.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think that...
So that's how I feel about it.
And I agree with you. I think what surprised me about the movie was that it was normally the balance with Rambo films is about 25% setup and 75% execution, with maybe like a 5% respite in the middle of the execution where he has some...
Just like sew up his leg with
emotion.
With like a stunned stick insect or something.
Yeah, whatever. Or he, his girlfriend dies or something.
Right.
But, and he has to be emotional and hold a necklace for 5 minutes or whatever it is. So he has to like look off into the distance, and there has to be a voiceover about the cold deadness of his heart and how humanity is the worst. And then he goes back to cleaving people in twain. It seems perfectly happy. So, and I think, to talk about your point about the fact that come the second movie, it's essentially flipped. And Stallone, even though he's well aware he's making a one-man army move, in the second one he wins the Vietnam War, in the third one he wins the Cold War, in the fourth one he saves some missionaries from Burma. I mean, okay. And then
well, the fourth one he's going, not all geopolitical situations are complicated.
Yeah, right. So where was I going with it? But throughout that, the thing that Stallone's always tried to infuse him with, to kind of tie it back to the first one, is his emotional reckoning with everything Rambo physically has to do. Rambo's aware, and the reason why the sequels kind of work to some extent, is that when the military need to wind him up and set him loose, Rambo feels like he has no other choice. Like he has no other choice. It is hardwired into him. They beat it into him. The military did at like 17 years of age or whatever. And he has no other choice but to answer the call, no matter how much it like emotionally damages him. And I think that the interesting thing about the fourth one, I guess, is that he's not doing it for the military. He's not doing it for... No one came calling. No, like Troutman didn't show up and be like, "You need to do this, John." He mainly because he was dead, the actor. But he's sort of doing it for like for random humans. Like he's trying to do it to find some other justification in it, I guess, or some other like humanity in it, or some other. Like this story of, well, I need to believe that there is some good in the world kind of thing.
Right.
And is that good worth saving with brute force and whatever? So there's like some through line in there. But that story's been told to some extent. This story essentially tries to make it like very, very, very personal. But there's no weight to any of it. It doesn't really matter how much he tells us that he cares about the girl. For the first 15 minutes of the movie, we don't really know who she is.
Right.
You're kind of like, who are these people living in Rambo's house?
yeah. That's why I asked the question, like a few minutes in, like, are they from another movie? Like, because I already had the feeling, like, I'm supposed to really care about these people.
Right.
But it's like they didn't even exist.
Right. And there is an argument to be made that if you're going to make the villains of your movie, a Mexican sex trafficking drug cartel,
you better make damn sure the people you're saving are also Mexican. You're going to get in a whole heap of trouble.
Right. And I think that was probably his. I mean, I know Stallone probably leans to the Republican side. Certainly he has in the past, but he's also talked about like liberal issues as well. So I don't who knows. But I think that was probably the trade-off for him. He was like, well, we have this movie and it's got a Mexican drug deal, and maybe that would have flown 10 years ago, but not now. And so how about I have this Mexican family who are tending to my ranch?
But
there's no weight to the audience.
Yeah, but ultimately, if they are,
and it's a story we've already seen. So getting to that, the only thing Rambo 5 can really offer me then is more of the carnage I like, because there's not really a human story I'm going to care about at this point with this particular character that hasn't been.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is that the problem is without bringing, if you're going to have the machete he used in Rambo 2, and they did that thing where they panned around at the beginning, and even I recognise some things from other movies, right?
Right.
And if you're going to do that, and then you're going to, like you say, you're going to make it a deeply personal story, then it could be like Troutman's kid was, I don't know, pushed over by a fat person. I don't know, whatever, right? But something that's like...
Troutman's kid was pushed over by a fat person. Can we just... So you would say that the vengeance would be against fat people. That would be equally problematic right now, I think, in this
I guess what I'm saying
environment.
is, it wouldn't take too much.
Unless Rambo was carving up Wall Street traders, I don't think any liberal is necessarily going to get on the side of...
What I'm saying is, if you let me watch, Rambo 1, 2, 3 and 4, right? And then you gave me 2 hours to come up with, or an hour,
right,
to come up with, pick a character that Rambo has some kind of connection with, and then figure out how 15, 20 years later... something could happen to that character or relative of that character that would cause it to be the personal connection that it acts as some kind of through line. I could have done that without inventing new characters for him to, as you say, get upset about it. Who cares?
Weirdly enough, I thought the most problematic thing in the movie was sort of the mentioning of PTSD, because we know Rambo has that. That's kind of what he's talked about throughout all four of the movies. They dropped that like
a hot potato after about 20 minutes.
Right, but
he felt a bit weird in a nightclub, and then that was it.
There was also a bunch of stuff where he was like, he's going to have problems with light and sound.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
None at all.
That never happened.
No.
A couple of days, he'll be fine. Major concussion.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be like a Copland. I don't know, he was operating at half capacity, but it was might as well not have bothered.
Yeah. So I think the reason why we were all in the cinema, you only get about 20% of that, and I think that is the biggest problem in the movie. And yet, weirdly, watching it, I didn't mind it. I wasn't bored. I wasn't shifting in my seat necessarily.
No, that's true. It was quick. It was 90 minutes.
But there was a part of me where I was like, oh, I hope he, cuts some legs off soon, or snaps a collarbone in half.
Can I just make one small criticism that really, really bothered me?
What's that?
At the end, when he plays 5-1 by the doors, right?
Yes.
Which is a fine choice of song.
Right.
Fine choice. Vietnam, right.
Yeah.
There's one line in that song.
Yeah.
One line that the reason you chose 5-1 is 5-1, 1-5.
Yeah.
No one here gets out alive. That's the fucking line.
Yes.
That's why you've chosen this fucking thing for this scene.
Yes.
And as he's saying that line, they have a huge explosion, and the line's totally lost. What the fuck is why is this song? If it's 5-1, baby, 1 in 5, no,
right?
Then we get yours, baby. Wait, what?
No,
why
I heard
wouldn't
the line.
you? I didn't know. The line was lost.
No, I heard the line.
Well, you heard the line because you know the song, but I'm telling you the line was lost.
All right, okay.
And it was just like, what the fuck?
Well,
Why
I
fuck?
think the director was like, "Oh, what if we kill everyone on the right at the moment that he says get out alive?" I guess. No, I think
That unreasonably bothered me.
the problem with the movie is twofold. One, we've all seen Taken, and it's categorically a better movie, just is. And secondly, all the reason we're all in the cinema takes too long to get to there. Now, when it gets there, I'm loving it. Like, I'm having all the fun in the world. You know, as I said, no amount of like belly aching, hand wringing, or wishy-washy bollocks is going to make me not enjoy Rambo, you know, splitting someone open and literally ripping their heart out. Like, that's enjoyable to me, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. Because you know what? I wouldn't do that in real life. I just want to watch it on the screen.
Yeah.
But I did think what was interesting about this movie, especially the ending, is, you know, especially the later Friday the 13th and the later Halloweens, there's a lot of like moral hand-wringing about slasher movies because they're like, what? Why is it that people like the villains? You know, we don't want blah, 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 blah. And it's because we love seeing really annoying teenagers killed in inventive ways. It's really interesting. And if it's done by someone who's like iconic in a hockey mask, so much the better. But I did think what was interesting by the end of the movie, where the camera shows from 3 different angles him literally splitting someone's sternum open with an enormous knife. I'm like, we're enjoying this because Rambo has become Jason Voorhees. Like, we're enjoying this because, you know, like, it's really interesting. In the Friday the 13th remake, one of the problems I have with it is that Jason Voorhees had decided to build a bunch of elaborate tunnels, which I was just... Voorhees has never bothered with tunnels before.
Him go, and then like wiping his brow, you know, like, gosh, it's tiring work, these tunnels.
Well, also, yeah, so there's that, which makes no fucking sense. But there's
Or I
also...
could use a cuppa.
Or I could use, all the backs hurting. I'm 74.
Wish I was back in the bottom of that lake.
If I was a teenager in the 60s, I must be really old at this point. But not just that, but it was like a filmmaker's stupid way of explaining how Jason can be everywhere at once. I'm like, you realize there's been like 11 movies where no one's cared about it. Like, let's not. So, but watching Rambo, like with the intricate series of tunnels and all the booby traps and him like removing people's heads and slashing people's ankles with machetes, I'm like, this is a Friday the 13th movie. That, you know, tangentially, this is like a horror movie. Only we're allowed to root for the villain because the villain is Rambo. And all the others did very, very bad things. The other thing I wanted to point out about this movie, which doesn't annoy me as much with other action movies, but kind of got on my goat a little bit here, was like, when... And I understand why he did it, but like, it would be so much easier just give him his daughter back. Like, really? There's like 100 other women we could put in her place, but instead they're like, not only are we going to leave you alive, wait,
They didn't even bother justifying that. It was
Right.
like, no, leave him alive. It's like, we've never done that before. Never in the history of anybody's old dad coming to get their birds back, which is, by the way, happened multiple times.
Right.
We're not even arguing. I've just said, drop him in the acid. Like, no one said, like, wait, what acid? It's like, you know the acid we keep specifically to burn people that come looking for their prostitute daughters?
Right.
Use that.
Use the acid.
Not this time.
Yes, not.
Oh, not with the angry-looking veteran with the massive knife and the gun. No, him we leave alive. Right? Why?
So there
Because
was-
no, listen. Next time a 90-year-old, do you know what I mean, a man that can barely walk comes looking for his daughter, and you want him to suffer, great, by all means.
Put him in
this
the
one
acid.
got a bit of a feeling.
Yeah.
Bit of a feeling. We should definitely put him in the acid.
But but then, as it goes on, they make all of the mistakes. Like, all the bad guys make all of the mistakes. They show up at his ranch rich, right?
I thought that too. Not one of them goes like, "Why are we made?" Because the other thing is, like, the first thing the guy says when they get out of the trucks after they've like driven in and the farm's exploded, he's gone, "This gringo is nothing. We can take him easy." You go, "No, that's not the message."
He literally just blew up one of
the
his
message
cars
is
and
we
set
may
fire
have
to
bitten off more than we can chew here. Let's not forget he's already killed quite a few of us in your brother's house and took his head.
Yeah.
So
What really made me laugh though was the he jumps out of a few of the booby trap holes that he has, shoots a bunch of people, leaving the door to his clearly booby trap tunnels right open, and they're all like, "Well, he's down there. Let's all go."
Nobody stay up here. Right. I know there's 50 of us, but we're all going into the tunnels.
Let's all go into the tunnels.
Couldn't he escape out of one of these numerous holes that we've seen him already escape from? Won't happen.
Won't happen.
He's not going to do it twice.
No.
He's killing everybody twice for no reason. He set those blokes on fire and then he shot them.
Yeah.
Why? They were already dead.
They were already on fire.
One of us should stay up here. One of them should have at least thought to say, Should I stay up here? You go into the booby trap tunnels in the darkness with the madman who's already killed 8 of us.
Right.
I'll stay here.
Also,
by the trucks.
Yeah.
I'll give you 5 minutes. If I don't hear anything, I might be off.
Yeah.
And then I'll go home and run the cartel. That is exactly what I would do.
Right.
Where's everybody else? They did not make it. I'm in charge now.
Alan,
bring the acid.
I'd like to inspect the acid.
Yeah. P.S. We've got a new plan with the acid. Always. I don't care what I say. Just if in the future I say I would like to leave this one alive, ignore me and put it there. Because you know what? I'm not going to know. I'm not going to remember. I've got a massive drug cartel to run. I look, did you remember not to put that old man in the acid? Don't worry, I didn't put him in the acid. Great. I'm going to sit here for 5 minutes and think about it because apparently that's my motivation.
But it was I think because it was such a threadbare film in terms of like plot and
also,
character.
She's new. We could charge more for her because she's untouched. Carve her face up. That'll put her value up. We'll be able to... Have you got any women who've been carved up a bit? I'll pay extra. I'll pay extra for a carved one.
Yeah. Carved up woman with some heroin in her.
Yeah.
Can we find that, please?
Yeah. Can you get a drugged up carved one? Oh, you want the gold package?
Yeah. Sex trafficking. It's got to be more trouble.
The acid alone. Oh, the acid handling fees are a nightmare. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I think, by the time he gets off the couch at the journalist woman's house. By the way, did we explain anything that's going on? Not really, right? The niece goes down to the people that were living in this house. The daughter goes down to Mexico to find her real father. Rambo says, "Please don't go to Mexico. Your real father is an absolute ass." And she's like, "But I really need to see him." And he's like, "No." And she's like, "Okay." And then she wakes up the next morning and goes, "I thought about it all night. I am going to go." And
both Rambo and the mother go,
and the grandmother.
So she's definitely not going to go to Mexico then. Definitely not. Well, shall we let her... I'm just going to go and stay at a friend's house for the night. Don't call.
Yeah.
Brilliant. We won't. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You're definitely not going to Mexico.
So she goes to Mexico, she finds the father. The father is a complete asshole. And her friend, who I would have known right away, okay, this is dodgy as all hell. Her friend, in inverted commas, gets her drugged and shipped into sex work.
Yeah.
What was in it for her at all, exactly?
A gold bangle.
No, but she just took that off her friend. Like, what did she get from it?
I don't know.
She was living in a hovel, so if she'd been doing this, like if she'd been feeding to avoid getting fed into the cartel herself, if she'd been feeding other girls in, what were they giving her?
Her own acid?
I guess so. Her own
Difficult to
bucket
say.
of the acid.
Yeah.
So there was that, which was super weird. And then, and then the other thing was when they were like, "Oh shit, we better like ride into America and kill Rambo." All of a sudden, this bunch of like coke snorting, whore beating sex traffickers are a well-organized militia with like flak jackets, and they've got all the moves with the machine guns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I suppose I could like, if some of them were soldiers, I suppose I could buy some of them having training or whatever. But like, the guy was the main guy, the Menendez brother, right? Was a flouncy suit wearing, long haired twat.
Yeah.
There's no way that he was like, oh, you know, I'm really the leader.
Yeah,
of a
really, it should have been like
group.
it should have been like Mr. Flouncy should have had his head cut off, and Mr. Psycho with a knife should have been like the leader coming for Rambo. Because in the end, like Rambo killed the guy he wanted, and then the actual climax of the movie is, and now the people I have not already murdered will drive to kill me, and that'll be the climax. There was nothing there.
Yeah. Well, also,
emotion.
Had you done what you had said, which is Flouncy stays in the truck with a couple of armed guards,
right,
while forcing at gunpoint all his lackeys to go down into the tunnel.
Where they're taking care of, because the way he kills them, whether they're military trained or not, makes no
difference at all. Right. Because he basically has rigged up the sequence you missed because you went to the bathroom, which I could not believe.
I thought it was just going to be more moping.
You could have.
I reached my moping quota.
You could have missed the sequence where the director went, "What if we backlight Stallone's ridiculous profile?" So that he looks more like the spitting image puppet of him. Because he already looked like the spitting image puppet of him. Like, his face literally looks like rubber. Right? And then they're like, let's film him from the side so we can see his obscene old man nose. Because he's got that, you know, like as men get older, their noses and their ears just are enormous because they stay the same size while everything else shrinks, right? So Stallone's face is literally shrinking into his nose. Right. The only thing that's left is his enormous nose and his underbite, which is just huge and floppy and rubbery. And they film it from the side for what's meant to be this emotional scene with a journalist. And all I could be thinking was, he looks like a spitting image puppet.
Yeah, it was an odd choice. So
you could have missed that scene.
Yeah.
But instead...
No, that scene I could have missed, or the scene before. Because as soon as the I should have known better. Because as soon as the daughter or whatever copped it, I should have just gone to the lab. Because that's like 10 minutes of moping, guaranteed.
Guaranteed moping right there.
I could have missed that bollocks. Yeah. And then come back to the booby traps.
Yeah. I was actually surprised, like, the daughter dying, like, narratively didn't really... You'd already justified all the carnage he was going to bring to them. The daughter dying doesn't really, like, add anything else to it. I mean, yes, he gets to have this whole soliloquy about all his friends are now ghosts, but...
Well, but presumably that's what's supposed to be like last, right? He's got nothing. That's what's supposed to be. He's got nothing left.
Right, but that would work if, like you say, there were some established characters in previous movies that he had left.
Yeah.
But he never had anything left. He had to invent characters that didn't exist in order to have nothing left.
Yeah.
Which was sort of the redundant process. Now, I know we're looking very deep into what essentially is it's essentially a grindhouse movie. It's flat out a grindhouse movie, and I'll tell
that's how I watched it, and that's why I enjoyed it, because it was nothing more than that.
But it's a grindhouse movie in the way that you'll read the back of a grindhouse movie, and it'll be like action-packed, blood spurting, limbs breaking, blah 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 blah, and you'll put it in, and it'll be 50 minutes of people sitting around in a whatever, picking their bum, for like 10 minutes at the end of the movie where there was like some legitimate fun B-movie governance, because that's really just the kind of financial realities of those old 70s grindhouse movies.
Right.
You know, and it's funny because like all the movies that try and parody it, those grindhouse movies, always have like, yeah, what if there's like tits and guns and bikers and priests and nuns and people with shotguns and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, what you've done is you've taken the 5 minutes from all those grindhouse movies from back in the day and like slammed them all into one, you know, inexplicably awful movie, rather than the reason why people like grindhouse movies is to do with very often like the weird and bonkers ideas they're trying to like look at, coupled with the weird parts of the world that they're filmed in, you know, coupled with the B-movie actors slumming it from, you know, TV stars who end up slumming it, coupled with, yes, the 10 or 20 minutes of mad action in them. But, most of them, those 70s grindhouse movies, are not wall-to-wall action. They're not kind of what you're wanting to look for. And neither was this. This was, if this wasn't Stallone and it was made in 1978 and starred like, who's the fucking guy from Raiders of Atlantis who's in a bunch of those? Or, okay, if it was made in like 1985 and starred Wings Hauser, this would be a perfectly acceptable level of action versus dribble. But because it's Rambo 5 and because it's Stallone, your expectations are that once he gets off the couch in the journalist thing, having got over his concussion, his black eye and his cut up cheek, that he's going to strap on, 15 nuclear warheads and go nut someone to oblivion. And the fact that he doesn't is a little disappointing.
Yeah, I think that's a neat summary, mate. We should probably leave it there.
We still didn't explain what happened to the girl.
It doesn't matter.
She goes down to Mexico, she gets drugged, she gets raped, he goes after the people who do it. The end.
And then when he brings her back, she dies of an overdose in the truck.
Yeah.
It's like, think about hospital. They do have hospitals in Mexico. They're not going to go, sorry, mate, you're not welcome in Mexico.
Yeah.
Sorry, we don't do overdoses here.
Yeah.
It's like, turn up and leave her there.
Yeah.
Or wait.
Yeah.
Have a showdown in a hospital. Have Halloween 2, but in a hospital.
No, there are lots of better things than it either needed to be.
Because then he's killing to keep her alive.
Yeah.
That would be better.
Yeah, it either needed to be that.
Yeah.
Or it needed to be 60 minutes of what we got 10 minutes of at the end.
Yeah. And just goes back to Mexico for revenge. Maybe that was it. Because maybe he still had that they're going to come and attack me in my home thing. But that didn't really make sense either.
Yeah, he had to go all the way back down there, chop a guy's head off, and then leave a blood trail back to his house.
Don't go chasing him until he's had time to grieve.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Until he's had time to build an intricate series of booby trap tunnels. Once he's done that, I think you should probably send in everybody. Don't leave anyone in Mexico.
Don't leave anyone there.
And
everybody go. If I find out anyone's not been in the tunnels, I'll be very upset.
Yeah, I will be checking everyone's boots personally to make sure that they do have muddy tunnel dust on them. But ultimately, I did enjoy it, and ultimately,
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it like the other B movies we've seen this year, like the Sam Raimi crocodile film, and the shark cage film. They were all in their own way paper thin bullshit, but they were fun enough, silly B movies that are in the cinema, and I'm happy they're there. Long may it continue, mate.
Yeah,
Rambo 6. This time they kill his horse.
Rambo 6, the Ramboing. Rambo 6, this time he tears the hearts out of everybody, not just the lead.
Because it's First Blood, Rambo First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3, Rambo Last Blood. That's the...
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And I also think that, going back to what I was saying earlier about action going into fantasy more and more and more, because people don't really want to reckon with the whole guns thing. And with sort of the bloodthirstiness of it all. The only way to have done the Rambo franchise in the modern world and be able to make 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, and it's sort of what they have to do with Expendables as well, is, have him fight monsters, have him fight aliens, have it cross over with the Fast and Furious franchise, and then they all fight aliens in space in a giant car.
Dude, you should...
That's
so be a Hollywood producer.
That's where it should
Rambo
go.
meets Predator. What's wrong with that?
Oh, that's already been that had already been mooted back in the day before they made Rambo 4. They were like, could we do a Rambo meets a monster thing?
Yeah. Good. We'll take the check.
Thanks, mate. So that has been mooted.
See, I'm not original.
I think he should do it in space though. Everything should be in space.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that's
and while he's up there, he can punch Brad Pitt's moping out a space shuttle window
Thank you very much, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Cheers.
night. Yeah, he can punch Brad Pitt's staring out of a space shuttle window in a vest. Ad Astra face.
All right. Shall we?
Sure. Why not? Well, there you go, ladies and germs. Yet another podcast done and dusted. Wasn't that fun? Didn't you enjoy that? And won't you be listening to more episodes? I do so very much hope so. Check out aftermoviediner.com, and don't forget, if you want to support us, you can over at patreon.com, patreon.com/aftermoviediner. You can also rate and review us wherever podcasts are found. And why not write to us at hello@aftermoviediner.com or hello@aftermoviediner.com or just hello@aftermoviediner.com. You take your pick. Either way, it's HELLO@aftermoviediner.com, or call us on 347-669-0053. 347-669-0053. 5 to 1, baby. 1 in 5.
Shadows of the evening crawl across the hill. Yeah, walk across the floor with a flower in your hand, trying to tell me no one understands. Trading your hours for a handful of dimes. Gonna make it, baby, in our prime. Come together one more time. Get together one more time. Get together one more time. Get together. Get together. See, I gotta go out and scar these people.